Now we have science that shows when you do even 24 to 48 hours of fasting, there's neurons within the brain that start to fire, and neural pathways that are formed that start to fire the synapse, and we become more intelligent. You can see this on an EKG. You can see it. It's a really good question. If I was honest, I would just say sedation. Basic sedation of the masses through ubiquitous quantities of food and inundating people's senses all the time with all kinds of different things. And when you apply these things, you start to open up a whole new world and a whole new understanding. A whole new world. Anyway, if you just don't want to get sick, eat 2 meals a day. If we just stick to 2 meals a day, when the sun is highest in the sky and just before it sets, then we'll experience life and vitality because we're observing principles of the body's natural cycles. So after 3 days on water only, my body is literally deconstructing and breaking down polyps, cysts, tumors. You know, I've seen people on, 5 to 10 days water fast, a complete mold dissolve. This is the original healing of disease. Hippocrates laid the foundation for modern medical system. And Hippocrates didn't use pharmaceutical drugs. Hippocrates didn't have chemo. Hippocrates wasn't performing surgeries for tumors. He was getting people to fast. He was using hot and cold water to shock the immune system to get an immune response for our bodies to heal themselves.
And I said, well, let me just look on the back of the packet and I'm going to read the ingredients. So I read them the ingredients, and I said, what of those ingredients can you understand? And there was one, and it was like sugar. But then the rest of them were all chemicals. So I just said, high amount of antioxidants in the body is really important because then it will fight off those free radicals, which will then lessen the amount of damage that you've done to your cells. And that is where you're going to find a super high amount of those antioxidants in those dark green leafy vegetables, and that's why they're super important. And that's why, for example, bee pollen has, it's the most complete food in the world is in bee pollen. So it has everything, in particular, all of the B vitamins. So there's that myth, but whether or not it's a myth, I'm not sure. I'd like to believe that it was true, that a famous king in China lived to 242 years of age because he was drinking goji berry tea every single day. And every single day, just pick one to have in your diet every single day, and then just eat, a whole foods diet.
So for me, the past 20 years, just over 20 years, has been about exploring that journey between what we consume and how we show up in the world as a human being and the kind of life that we can live and create. A higher incidence now of cancer and heart disease and all the other major killers at a speed and a level that there's never been before in history. And so a lot of people are being literally pushed to make different food choices rather than pulled. And I always thought, even as a child, that I was here to do something, but I didn't know what it was. I didn't have a clue, really. But what eating more raw food did for me was it really brought me home to myself. It made me much more self-aware. How am I feeling? What am I thinking? Is that helpful? Where am I going? Who am I? I mean, really big questions started to present themselves the more deeply I went into raw food. Gosh, yeah. I mean, I always say the two most powerful things that you can put together as a human being is raw food and meditation. And that actually, I've never said it this way before, but that enables us to come from a position then of literally reinventing ourselves. Because when we return to a place of innocence and purity, it means that our ego starts to shake loose, and then we're not so attached as to how we appear to the outside world, what will impress someone, what will give us status. It enables us to come back to our original joy. So that obviously really excites people, because when they're feeling better physically and then they're starting to feel happier and more balanced emotionally, they're like, okay, something big is happening here. This is not just about health and eating raw food. This now is about transformation.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me, Mitch. I'm very happy to be here with you and all of the lovely viewers. Yeah, if I were to summarize a healthy relationship with ourself in one word, I would choose the word acceptance. A man wiser than myself one time said, we have to lose ourselves in order to find ourselves. And I think it's one of the paradoxes of life. And my opinion is the richest insights of life that have sort of the most eternal truth to them are always paradoxical. But after enough pain, emptiness, heartbreak, all those proverbial things we live through that create the pain to motivate us to look inward, after we do enough of that, we then become less seduced by the direction that our eyes point, and we start to drink in the wisdom of, say, St. Francis of Assisi, to realize that what we're looking for is the one who's actually looking through my eyes. And I know it's, saying support and purpose, we can then say, like, yeah, what does that feel like? Answering it maybe a level deeper, I would dare say it's a feeling of inner fulfillment, like in almost a literal sense, like it feels like we're full inside, not like in our bellies, but like through our whole body. It's like whoever's supposed to live there, they're home. I think who we really are in this relationship with ourselves, it's something that must be felt. Not something that we can see, not even something we can think and comprehend, but something that must be felt.
And one of the biggest things that I learned is that when you increase emotion, you decrease intelligence. And so we can have an inflated ego and we can have a deflated ego. But the balance between the two is a state of peace. And my belief is that our natural state is a state of peace, not the inflated highs, not the deflated lows. And so the question is, how can you spend more time in a state of peace? Because it's actually a very, very healing state for the body as well. That's the key, because sometimes we can be stuck in the past fears, past angers, past hurts, or stuck in the future, which is anxiety, fear of the future, or a habitual process of thinking of the worst case scenario. And Milton Erickson, probably the grandfather of hypnotherapy, he said it. He said the reason patients are patients is because they've taken on board so much external programming, they've forgotten who they are. And that's what naturally occurs, is that when you've achieved something that's at a core level, you then have a natural desire to be able to help other people often achieve the same thing. And that's where we start to evolve. It's like when we get our basic stresses handled, we start to tap into our true genius. And so that's one of the biggest things that I could share with people is come up with a mission or a reason, because the psychology switches on. And get excited about your passions. Go big picture. Drop the boundary conditions. Think big. Create a vision, but then let it go. And so if you can get back to the now position, then suddenly what can start to unfold is new ideas, creativity, passion, clarity on who you are and where you want to go. And I think the biggest thing is that I do what I love. And I think that's what happens is that when you connect to what you really, really love, you work hard. You don't realize you're working hard. But you're having fun in the process.
It's interesting because given the topic of manifestation, I'd say it's almost like I fell into this life of abundance that I'm in. But it was because I trusted the signals, I trusted the doorways that were opening, and I stepped through them. I'm always telling people that we're not going to create anything today. Everything already is. It exists. It's just not maybe tangible or in a way in which we can recognize it. But what if you made this massive fiesta, this like party out of it, where literally no matter where you are, whether you're in the public or you're in a private place, you bent down, picked it up, and you're like, yeah! That option A, option B are not the only options, but there's a whole alphabet of options waiting for you, and that actually again comes back into what manifestation is. It's knowing there's an infinite possibility. And so if somebody is feeling, oh, I don't have this, I don't have that, I'm unhappy, I'm in a bad relationship, I don't like my job. Well, that's what they're manifesting. You take what the world gives you and then you amplify it. It's already there, it's already made, it's ready for you. All you have to do is open your door to receive the delivery.
In the modern world, now we're dealing with billions of pounds of toxic compounds have been pumped into the environment since the dawn of the industrial age. Yet they're far removed from direct spiritual contact of my own body. Oh my God, my own body speaking to me. Oh, this pain or that pain. Let me go find out information on the internet or the news. What happened to direct source guidance? Oh, I have a pain in my body. Let me see what my body needs, or let me be quiet enough to help my body understand so I get the messages loud and clear of what I need to do. So lo and behold, there was my message. The colon's pretty important. You want to keep that thing moving and squeaky clean as best as possible. I've been doing some form of cleanse and detox 2 to 4 times a year, liver flush, kidney flush, bowel detox, juice fast, etc., etc. And lo and behold, it definitely helps my tissues. He goes, what did you make, a pact with the devil? He's like, your face looks exactly the same. This is the spirit of this little child came to me before I was even married in the Amazon. And so, if chemicalized food and garbage food looks so great, take off your clothes. How does it look? I'm 50 years old. I look like this. I take my clothes off all the time. I don't have a problem with that. Okay? And I'm not here to say anything else, but most people don't look like this at 55 years old. I'm not a gym rat. Walking's my dominant exercise. And so, and that's the truth. So can we get to the truth